Okay, hello everyone. So what we will see today is already the add input and add output decorators are discussed in class, I guess. So what we'll do is we'll try to implement that in a to-do list. So first we'll go for a normal to-do list. We'll develop that, and then what we'll do, we'll try to refactor the to-do list using so initially what we'll do is we'll work only on one component. Okay, that means in a single component we'll make everything, but later on what we'll do, we'll create different components, and we'll try to communicate from one component to another using the address input and address output decorators. So let me create a project. Okay. So please go through the some examples I have uploaded in YouTube yesterday in the same channel. Please go through those applications. Okay. So after this class, what I'll do is so now what we'll do only a simple to-do list. Okay. But after that, I'll add some more features and upload the video there. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll do only a simple to-do list with only one delete option. Okay. But after the class, I'll upload a video where we'll have undo, done options. Okay, all those things. Just adding functionality, that's it. But the concept is same address input, same address output. Okay, so it is created. So this is the project. Let me open this in Visual Studio Code and serve. Okay, so I'll remove the app component default data. Okay, so now let me create a simple to-do list. Okay, so for that, what we need one input field. Input type is equal to text, and we'll bind it with ng model with some variable. What name we should give? We can give a task or anything. Okay, so let me give it as task, and then we'll have one button. In this button, what we'll have add task. Okay, and add task, and here we have a method binded to this click. So add task method. Why so many people are coming? Hello. This is Abhi. Who is Abhi?
Hello, Anna.
Yeah, this is Angular class. Are you from Angular?
No, 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 no. I'm kidding.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Fine.
okay, okay, fine. Only Angular students. Okay, so we have data. So this task we have to create it in the ES file. So task is of type. What is it? It's of type string equal to empty string. Okay. Then after that, what we need? We need one array. Let's say task list. Okay, is of type any array which is empty initially. Okay. Now what is to be done? So when I click on this add task method, add task button, the task should be pushed to the array, isn't it? So I'll create the add task method. Add task method is here. So what will this do? This dot. So this is just a string, so we don't need to create any object or something. This dot tasks task list dot push dot will push the this dot task. Okay, after pushing, so now we need to use this, what is it called, task list to display a list of items. So let me take a ul. Okay, and in the ul li, so we'll have two things. First thing is name of the task, and also one uh, delete button or something. Okay, they will put a delete button for now. Later on I'll show you some undo button and all those things. Okay, so here I need to use ng for this li. ng for equal to let task of task list, and here and also I have to pass the index I equal to index. And here so task will come, and also one button, delete button. This delete button will bind to delete task method, and it will take the I. Okay, and here I'll create the delete task method. We'll have index type number, and here what it will do, this dot task list dot slice of index comma 1. Okay, so I hope everything is fine now. Let's save this, go to the browser and check ng model. So we'll go to the app module and import the forms module. Okay, fine. Okay, now we have a an input box here. So let me write here shopping add task, car insurance add task. So now delete. So everything is working fine. Okay, now we'll do the same thing using more than one component. So what we'll do is now we have only the app component. So what we'll do, we'll create one to do component. Okay, so that to do component will load it inside this app component, and then what we'll do is then we will have another. So see this thing. So this whole page will be the app component. This thing will be the to do component, and when I'm adding something is coming here, right? This part will be another component, that is task component. Okay, so we need to create two more components. Okay, app component is already there. Inside the app component we'll load this component, which is, what is this component? This will be the to do component, and inside the after the to do component we'll load this task component. Okay, so first let us create two components. So this is the project src app. So here I'll create one to do component and one task component. Okay, so cmd ng generate component to do. Okay, first I create to do component and ng generate task. Okay, two components. Okay, fine. Now I close this. Okay, fine. So now I'll remove all these things. Okay, because we'll create from the beginning in the app.ts also. So let these things remain like this. So in the app component, what I'll do is I have to, so if even if these methods or properties are there, there is no problem. Okay, it will not throw any error. Okay, so now what I have done in the app component, I have removed everything. Only some methods and properties are there. So we can see in the browser it is totally fine. There is no errors. Okay, fine. Everything is fine. Even in the ng server, it is working. Okay, now let me do one thing. So we have the to do component here. So this to do component, let me try to load it in the app component. So how do we load an external app? So we write app hyphen to do. Okay, so the to do component is loaded. Okay, it is showing to do works. That means everything is fine. Okay, now we need to go to the to do component and think what to do there. Okay, so what will be the to do component have? To do component will have the that thing, only the input box and the add task button. That's it. Okay, so let me have a, what I'll have the input field. Input type is equal to text, and then we'll have the ng model. Okay, and ng model is equal to some maybe task value or something. Okay, task value. Then we'll have one button, button. So button on, so what will be here? Here will be add task, and on click we'll bind one add task method. Okay, fine, that is fine. And now, so how is this looking like? It is looking like, oh, again, what happened? Task value is not there. Okay, so let me create the task value here. Task value property is of type string and is equal to empty string. Okay, so let me check again, some error. Add task. Okay, add task functionality is also not there. So add task functionality also I added. Nothing is there. Let it be like that. No problem. So now everything is fine. So we can see the input field and the add task button. So what is happening here? We are in the app component. We are loading the to do component. And what is inside the to do component? To do component is having these two things: one input field and one button. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Now, and it is able to display it clearly. So there is no error. We can see here there is no error. Okay. Compile successfully. Fine. Now how do we add the task? Okay, how do we add the task? Now, what do I say? So what will happen here when I write something here? and I click on add task, this task will be updated in the task list array, isn't it? So earlier what we were doing, we were having all these things in the app component. So in the app component, we will not have any logic now. These same logics will be there in the to do component, because this input field and button is in the to do component. So we'll write the logic for all these things in the to do component. Okay. Okay, fine. So now here what we'll do, we have the task value, that is okay. Now we'll have the task list array. So task list is of type any array, which is equal to empty array. Okay, then after the task list, we'll write the functionality. So now we only have the add task functionality, isn't it? So we'll do the write the what it is called functionality for the add task. So we have already done this dot task list dot push. What we will push, we'll push the task value, isn't it? So this dot task value. Okay, so this will what it is called, this will update the task list array, and now we need to display it there. So now for displaying, again what we'll do is we'll not display. Earlier what we were doing, we were creating one unordered list, and there were some li, that is list items were there. Each list item was being displayed, but now we will not display li kind of thing. What we'll do is we already have created another component called the task component. Okay, so we will load the task component there. So first let us go to the task component. Okay, so it will be something like this. In the to do component, what will happen, we'll have this app task, and inside this app task we have to apply the in this app task we have to apply the ng for according to this task list array. Okay, so it is something like this. So let me give a gap here just to show you. So star ng for is equal to let task of task list. Okay, let task of task list, and in the what it is called so, and here I need to write the task, isn't it? Okay, I'll not write anything here. I'll pass the data. So now what will happen, to the task component I have to pass, what I have to pass, this task I have to pass because in the task component we have to display the name of the component and the delete button, isn't it? So now if you see, if I write here AAA, suppose for example, okay, I'll just show you one example whether it is able to display it or not. So I write here car wash. You can see, okay, task work is coming. Fine, that is not a problem. Then I have shopping. You can see another task component is loading. Okay, everything is working fine. Now what I need to do is I need to pass this data to the app task, and there we will create the template for the app task. Okay, so for that what we need something called the @input decorator. So where do we use the @input? The @input decorator is used to pass data from the parent to the child. Okay, so here what is the parent component? The parent component is to do component. Okay, the parent component is to do component, and the child is task component. So in the task component, what I'll do, I'll use the @input to take some value from the parent. Okay, so in the task component, I need to have one. So let me go to the task component. So in the task component ts file, what I'll do, I'll have one @input like this. Okay, so it is automatically imported here, @input, and let me write it something as task, some name I'll give. So I'll not create it like same task. Okay, let me write it as task name. Okay, and is of type any uh, type string equal to empty string. Okay, fine. So the property that we have created in the task component is task name. Okay, now this we have created only the property, but we have not passed the value from the parent to this child, because this is the child component, right? So we have to pass the value from the parent to this component. So how do I do that? Well, I have to go back to the to do component. Here, when I created this app task, here what I have to do is I have to use the property binding here. So what I do, so what is the property name? It is task name, isn't it? So task name is equal to task. Okay, task. So when I write like this, what is happening? What is task actually? Task is each task of task list. So this is the parent component, this whole thing, to do component. I'm on the to do component.html, right? So I'm on the parent component. So from here, what I'm doing, I'm passing each value to the task name property of the task component. So the task component is having this task name property that we have created in the task.component.ph. So now what will happen? That task value will come here. Okay, and here we can have the template. Okay, so instead of writing this task works, what I'll do is I'll create a template that will display the value. So let me create some paragraph. Oh, no, wait, let me create a span. Okay, in the span, what I'll do is, so this is the task component.html. In the TS, we already have this task name. Okay, so I'll just put this task name here. Sorry. So what will happen now? We go to the browser. If I write something, hello, we can see the hello is coming here. Okay, fine. So and if I write something more, okay, everything is coming fine. So now the span is so instead of span, I should put a p tag. Okay, let me put a div here. It will work fine. So div. Okay. Okay. Now it is fine, I guess. Yes, everything is fine. Okay. So this way the list is being created. Okay. Okay. So what is happening here actually when I'm doing this, doing the to do component, what is happening? I'm writing something in the input field. So that value is going to task value. When I'm clicking on add task, this task value is pushed to the task list array. And what is happening? According to the task list array, we are creating one app task, and each task is passed to the app task component through this property bind. Okay, when this task is going to the task name of the app task, so here it is coming. So immediately after coming here, we are displaying it here. Okay, so that is fine. So whatever we want to display, we are able to do. So let's say car wash, it is added. Then we have shopping, it is added. We are writing insurance, it is also getting added. Okay, so let me create some gap between these this one, this input field and this. Okay, so where is that? So here I have this button. So in this button, let me put a class like mb20. So I'll create one mb20 class, and margin bottom, let's say 20 px. What happened? Oh, mb hyphen 20. Oh, fine. Okay, now all these things are working fine. Now what I need to do, I want to put a delete button along with the what it is called, along with the task name. So in the task component, what I did was I had put only one task name, that is only the name. Okay, so I want to put one delete button also. So let's say button delete. Okay, so we'll create some functionality. Click equal to delete of some. So what will pass? Will pass okay. So what we'll do is we'll modify the how we were adding the task little bit. Okay. So for add task, what we were doing is we were directly pushing the whole string value. So instead of that, what we'll do, we'll have one object. Okay. In that object, we'll have one ID. Okay. And according to that ID, we'll try to delete it. Okay. Yeah. So that ID will be, the ID will act like the index. Okay. So whenever we add something, what will happen? I will start the ID from 0, and then we'll so first time the ID will be something like 0, then some ID will be 1, like that. Okay, we'll try to do something like that. Okay, so let's see that how to do it. So in this add task, I'll remove this functionality. So what I'll do is in the add task, okay, this is fine. But here we are passing the task value, isn't it? So we'll not pass the task value. What I'll do is I'll create one object. Let's say I'll create one object. Let's say let task object is equal to, what I'll have here. I'll have two things. That is, one is val, that is task value actually. So this dot task value. Okay, we have the task value here. And one more thing I'll have is, that is the ID. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create one ID property here. ID is of type, let's say any is equal to 0. Okay, I have one ID, so let me put it as number, no problem. Okay, so ID is initially 0, and I'll pass the ID here, this dot ID. Okay, so for the first time when I'm adding one task, what is happening? The first time when I'm adding one object, adding one task, the ID first ID will be 0, isn't it? Next time the ID will be 1. Next time, so first time the ID will be 0, it will be passed. Okay, fine. So for the next time, we want the index. So because this ID will work as an index, so we want the ID to be incremented. Okay, so what I'll do is, this task object is created, then we'll push this dot task list dot push. What I'll push, this task object, task obj. Okay, then after doing this, I'll increment the ID. Okay, this dot ID plus plus. Okay, now what will happen? Next time when some task is added, it will have ID as 1. Next time it will have ID as 2, like that. Okay, fine. Now this task is dot push I have done. So here, so yeah, okay, fine. Task list dot push task object. Okay, so let me show you. 1 second. So now what we have done is we have added all these things, so that is fine. So this thing, when we will display as a task, what will happen here? What is happening? The task name is coming, but is there in task name? So we are passing here task. Okay, so the whole object, because now task list is not an array of strings, now it is an array of objects, because we are passing one object. Okay, so now what will happen? that array of objects. From that array of objects, we are passing one object to the child. Okay, so in the task name, what is the task name? So let me name it as, okay, task object. Okay, so task obj, where is this task obj in this thing? So task obj, so whole task obj is coming here. So let me create it as n. Okay, fine. Now this task whole object is coming to the child, but we can't display the whole object. So what I'll do is I'll write here task obj dot, what was the thing in the object? It was val, isn't it? So I have to write here val. Okay, and for delete, what we need to do is so we have the whole object, that means we also have the id, isn't it? So we have to pass the id as well here. So we'll write delete of, what I'll pass, task obj dot id. Okay, that's what we do, right? If we are having index, so we pass del of I. Okay, as we are not having the index, we created this id, and now we can use this task obj dot id. Now the thing is, we can create the, so next thing is we need to create this method in the ts file, isn't it? Just after the this thing, so del method is there. Okay, that is fine, but now we need to think about something. So for creating the list, what was happening? From the parent, we in the parent we created the list, and then each list was passed to the, each object was passed to the child using the address input decorator. That is fine, but while deleting, what will happen? We will not do anything to the parent, we'll do the delete. The delete button is in the child, isn't it? So from the child, we need to send some data to the parent. We need to tell the parent that please delete this, isn't it? In the adding add task, what was happening? From the parent, we were telling the child that please add this task and show it below. But now what will happen? We will do exactly the opposite. That is, in the child, we will we have this delete button. From here, I will click on delete and tell the parent that please delete this item from the list. Okay, so how do I do that? So for that, we need another of decorator, that is known as the address output decorator, and also one more thing that is known as event emitter. Okay, I hope those are already discussed. So we'll just implement these things here. Okay, okay. Now let's see. So we have this del task obj dot del of task obj dot id, isn't it? So this thing we need to explain it here, define it here. So we have this del, and del, what it is doing, it is having some id. So I'll write the id here. Id is of type number or something. Okay, fine. Now from here, what I need to do, I need to have one event emitter. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll write here at after the address input, I'll write address output, address output. So I'll create one event. Okay, let's say del event. Okay, del event is equal to new event emitter. Okay, now using this del event, I'll pass the value to the parent. Okay, so here what I'll do is this dot del event, this dot del event dot emit. We have an emit method in the event emitter. So what I will emit, what I need to pass in the emit, we write all those things that we need to pass. We need to pass the id, so I'll pass the id. Okay, so what happened here? Of type string. Okay, okay, is saying string. Okay, then I'll write like this. Okay, so I'll write any. Okay, fine, that is fine now. Okay, so even if it is a number, it will pass it as a string. That means emit will pass. So you can read here, emit event is of type string. Okay, so it will always pass it as a string. No problem, we don't have any problem in that. So now what is happening? We are passing the data, but we are not from here we are sending the data, but we are not receiving it. We need to receive it, we need to take the value, we need to take the id in the parent. If you don't take it, then we can't do anything. Okay, so in the to do component we had this app task, isn't it? So here we have binded the task task with the uh, task object using property binding. That is, this is the added input part actually. Now we have to write the added output part. Okay, so what is it? What do I write here? Here I write the event that I had created just now. What is the event I created? I created a del event. Okay, so this del event here, I have to write del event. Okay, and in this event we need to bind some method which will be here. Here we have only add task. We'll have one delete task as well. For example, delete task. Okay. Okay, fine. Now this delete task we have to bind it here. So delete task, and it will have the, because we sent it as a event, as an event, isn't it? So we'll have the dollar event here. So what will be there in the dollar event? This dollar event will have this thing. See this. We have send the id, no? So this id will come here as the dollar event. In the dollar event the id will be received, okay, from the parent, from the child to this parent. So this is the to do component. So here we will get the id. Okay, now here what will happen? So here we'll have the id, isn't it? So in the, so I'll write it as id only. Okay, now, so id is of type any, let's say. Okay, so here if we have the id, then we can, according to the id, I can remove the value from the task list, isn't it? So this is simple, this is just a simple splice method that we did. Task list dot splice of id comma 1. Okay, that's it. So what we are doing is, from the parent we are sending some data to the child to tell the child that please display this data, and in the child what we are doing, we are clicking on delete button, and from there we are passing the id to the, from the child to the parent, and telling the parent please delete it. Okay, that's it. So we have seen two communication processes. Okay, let's see what is happening here. Can't resolve string. Event emitter. Oh, the import statement is wrong. So where is that? Task component event emitter, not from stream. This event emitter should come here itself. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now let's see. So let's say car wash delete. Everything is working fine. Okay. So shopping car wash. Okay. So that is the thing. Okay, so now what I will do is, so I'll end the session here, but I'll record one more session and upload it. So there what will happen is, we will do something like we are adding add task. So delete is there, so we want some more functionality, like I want one done button. So if I click on done, so that means it will say that this task is done, then you can delete it. Okay, and if you want to say that no, it is not done, again you have to do undo. If you click on undo, it will again show that no, it is not done, and then you'll have the normal delete. So only one functionality we need to add. Okay, that we'll see in the next record. Okay, then is there any doubt? Hello, anyone? Okay, then I'll end the session here.